The Church of Mavis radio show, Friday nights at 8 p.m., 7 Central, starring Jeffrey Pritchett with his co-hosts Wham and Jay McNicholas, right here on the United Paranormal Radio Network, UPRN 107.7 FM, New Orleans.
Tune in to UFO Undercover, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Authors Quill. I hope everyone's having a great morning, great afternoon, great evening, great early morning, wherever you are on our big, beautiful blue planet. I mean, really, people, life is great these days, right? Even if it sucks, it's still great. I'm just telling you, if you're breathing, it's a good thing, my friends. Anyway, before we get started, I want to welcome everyone to the Authors Quill properly. And really and truly, we have John Goodwin co-hosting with us. Our guest is going to be Arthur Haywood, and we're going to bring him on in just a second. He's a really nice gentleman, and we're going to be talking about some of his very talented stuff he's done. Before we get into all of that, don't forget, guys, a lot of stuff going on as we get ready to get into the holidays. We have our Halloween giveaway. Oh, yes. And we're going to give away some scary, scary stuff this year. Yes, we are. But just a little teaser. Just a little teaser, just so y'all know. Yeah, something that will scare your mother-in-law away. How's that? Oh, yeah, there you go. And then, of course, we have the demon. The demon always likes to get in on the show. There you go. She's letting y'all know she's the demon. Of course, we have Alien Bob back there. He's ready to go as well, so it's going to get going. But really and truly, we do have a lot of stuff we're going to be giving away for Halloween. I think, if I remember right, I'd have to talk with Wade, but I think we've got 105 books scheduled to go away during the last week of the month, along with a couple of other cards and stuff people have sent us that we're going to be giving away as well. A couple of pictures, just some interesting stuff. We're going to be giving all of that away, just getting y'all ready for the holiday season where we like to just give away stuff. Can't help ourselves. We just like to give stuff away. And if I think I heard the other day that we're going to be giving more of these away this Christmas. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, these were big giveaways last 2 years. I got to say, these are actually thanks to John Goodwin. He invited me up to Salt Lake City, I think it was 2 years ago. And I went up there and I met a gentleman up there, and we made a deal. And I think he's in the UK, if I remember correctly. And we've been giving away lightsabers. Man, some of these lightsabers are outrageous. $1,000, $1,500. I'm like, what? I said, you want to pay what for what? I was stunned. I'm just telling you, I was stunned. But anyway, enough about all of that. Be sure to tune in and keep up with what's going on. I hope everybody enjoyed The Writer's Future, which was on earlier today. And then, of course, we had Echo Chernik on just a little while ago at The Professional. I hope y'all enjoyed her show. She's an outstanding illustrator. But on that note, we're going to welcome Arthur Haywood to the show. Arthur, how you been, man?
I've been doing great, continuing with my paintings for public schools, as well as doing more illustrations. So after the gala event, things have definitely been continuing to grow.
That's the way you want it to go, man. That's the way you want it to go. I know it's something that you love doing and enjoy doing. And I know I've asked you this question. I'm getting ready to ask you again. But still, somewhere when you were younger, something had to just trigger in your brain saying, okay, I can be an illustrator. I can draw. I can paint because I can draw stickmen. So I'm just curious what it was. I mean, let me rephrase this question. Let's make it a little more intense. For you, was it a natural thing? I mean, was this just a natural ability that once you took a pen to paper or finger to computer or keyboard, did it flow naturally, or was it something you really had to go back, read about, do some schooling, and really learn how to be a good illustrator? Because I've seen your work, so I know you're good. I'm just curious from your point of view, what was it?
I found that with any skill, it takes a lot of practice and discipline to improve. And fortunately, I was able to have the ability to go through training for art. And that really helped me to develop the skill set that I use in my paintings now. I work on a very step-by-step process, and that helps me to develop my. But the training that I went through in high school, college at the Maryland Institute College of Art, and even at this traditional drawing and painting school called Atelier that I went to New York, really established techniques that I use in my paintings now to give it that realistic style, and also it helped me to develop the that I use exceptionally in my paintings now. So I found with any skill, it takes practice to continue to develop. One aspect of my past experience that really helped me to see that art was a possible path was when I started to take graffiti classes when I was in middle school. I was actually on this TV show with my neighbor called Trading Spaces, was the one for kids, and he had his room decorated as a skate park. And so the graffiti artist who decorated his room offered as a prize for me to take a graffiti class with him at his local community center. And that really got me introduced into the whole realm of public art. Many of the people that were in that same graffiti class ended up working for the Philadelphia Mural Arts program. So I really was able to see the link between graffiti as a form of public art and murals as a form of public art. So that transition was really facilitated by that experience.
That was an excellent idea because I never really thought of it graffiti, but I can see where it could transition or even help you with doing murals. Yeah, I never really because one of my grandsons has got his ass in trouble for graffiti. He's really good at what he does, but so he got his butt in trouble. So the city gave him a job. That's what you call effing up in reverse, is what you call that. No, I'm serious though. He was they offered him a job, so he paints like electrical boxes and light boxes and all sorts of stuff all over the city. Puts all kind of designs on them. Well, they paint pretty good too, from what I've seen. So now, children, I'm not telling you to go out there and paint graffiti and get your butt in trouble, okay? But I never really thought of it in that way before. But I should have, because I noticed New Orleans has a program for kids and people that either have been in trouble with the law or for several different things, for graffiti, but for a lot of different things. And if they show any kind of talent, the city wants to help them to get that talent out, which is, to be honest with you, being as back ass for just New Orleans is amazing. They have drawn big giant whales, 80 foot long, 50 foot tall on the side of the buildings next to the aquarium. They did the whole French Quarter on a wall. I mean, it's fabulous stuff. And you would never know, you wouldn't think that there were troubled teens or troubled people who have been in jail doing this work. But I mean, it's and it gives them hope, because when you hear them talk about it, they realize that their life can be something else, which is really good, because let me tell you what, life can be tough sometimes. Everybody sooner or later is going to experience something tough in their life. And things like that, I guess, can help you through it. But what's your favorite medium?
For me, the medium I use in my paintings is oil paint. It's
I love you. See, I knew it's the reason I loved you. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
It really is something to love, because it can blend for days if you do. So it's much more. And you can just keep reworking, even to the point.
Your signal goes in and out. Do you?
Yeah, we're losing you.
Oh, sorry. I'll turn my volume up. So I was saying with the oil.
Yeah, your bandwidth. Do you have anything else going on your device that you could shut off, because your bandwidth is, we lose your voice.
Let me see if I'm gonna turn off email, if that's doing anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you're clear and then you're not. It's really weird. It's
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you now, but we hear you. Then all of a sudden, we just see your mouth moving with no sound. So.
See if it goes. I turned
now
off.
Now we hear you now. So.
Okay, I turned off the Gmail, so that might have been taking up some damage.
Okay, that was weird. There's a couple of weirdnesses going on there.
Yeah, now you're frozen. Well, now you're open. Anyway,
try moving to a different section of the room.
Yeah, take your time. It's because I wanted to hear more about that oil, because I'm I don't know what it is with me and oil, and I'm a big fan of oil. Anything.
Yeah, just at the at Fanix, it was there because Echo was there as well. She pre-recorded her show and just aired that because she was there the whole weekend with. She brought her daughter, and then we had Jennifer Mellon, who was a winner in Volume 40, was also there at our booth. But Echo was on the panel with Jennifer, and Emily was the moderator, and then we had one more from I think Volume 39 or Volume 38. He's now, I'll remember his name shortly, but it's great because the whole thing we talked about is how to survive as an artist, how to make it as an artist, which was the topic of the panel, and really Nick Gisbeth, that's the other artist that was there, and he's now full-time doing conventions. That's how he makes his living now. He travels around from show to show and sells his stuff in a booth, and he said he's doing better now than when he had a regular full-time job. So he really enjoys it because now he's just finished. He's got one more show this year, and then he goes home and throughout the winter he paints and gets ready for the next year for the shows with new product he can go out and travel with. So, but it's really because it was a pretty full panel, a pretty full turnout for people to ask the questions, and Emily and the company had a lot of. Whoa! There's a ghost of Arthur.
The one online.
There you go.
There we go. So I downloaded the app, so the connection might be better now.
Yeah.
You're coming in good now.
Yeah.
You're sounding really good.
Great.
I'm actually looking up right now as we're speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I know you did the illustration for one of the stories.
Yep.
I was just looking it up to see if I could find it.
Yeah, his author's going to be on pretty soon.
Yeah, he'll be coming on. We'll bring him on a little bit early so they can. Oh yeah, there it is. Right. Oh man, I love this. So let me ask you: do you have this in an oil? I don't know how well y'all can see this.
I'll walk over to it now. So it's about 11 by 17 inches, the actual size. And
it's this picture right here, people.
It's much more thing with the oils to be able to rework and blend, much more so than the acrylic paint.
Oh, I can understand that because I own a construction company. So, and believe it or not, we work with oils and acrylics. A friend of mine asked me one time. He said because he heard me talking on the phone. He said, "I didn't know you were an artist. You work with oils and acrylics." I said, "No, I'm a contractor." I said, "But we still work with oils and we're trying to get rid of oils. Actually, they're trying to ban oils. Is what they're trying to do." Yeah, they're trying to ban oil-based paints altogether, but not for painters, just for homes and stuff like that in buildings. It's bad for the environment. That's what they tell me. So I don't argue. I'm just whatever. Latex and acrylics are one. Any type of latex is dangerous because if it starts to peel, everything may just go. It's like a piece of plastic or rubber just peels off. It's and I mean, if you got a lot of hard work on it, you may end up with like a sticky picture you got to throw on a wall or something. I don't know. It's messed up. What's that? Jennifer Ray Johnson. Well, hello, Jennifer Ray Johnson. Where are you from? Calgary. Whoa, well, you're way over. So what do you got for us tonight? You're 34 years old and you're looking for advice on how to paint in oil. Well,
hey, Arthur, you're on.
Arthur, yeah, Arthur, that's Arthur's job. I don't know nothing about painting in oil other than on walls. What you got, Arthur?
Yeah, I would say the main thing that helped me out in terms of painting and oil paint is using multiple steps to facilitate the process of going from a blank canvas to the final detail. So the process that I use, starting off with the drawing to get the overall shape and place, then the drawing on the surface. So unless you have the man.
You're breaking up there.
Yeah, we get him good. I don't know, guys. It's one of them things. Sometimes we just get a connection like that. It's he sounds real good, and then he goes. It sounds like Max Headroom took over.
Oh no!
Yes, look, you Z-Genners. I know y'all might not know who Max Headroom is, but the rest of us do.
Just to take it step by step. So when you're doing oil painting, if you do layer. Make it easier to transfer.
Wow, that's just not working.
Yeah, you get going good. First 10 words, 12 words, and it just starts cutting you out. I don't. What's that, Christopher? I don't know. No, he's got a lot. I've talked to Arthur before. He's really got his stuff together. That's one of the reasons I want to talk to him today. No, that's that picture I just showed y'all, which I'll show y'all again in a little bit. That's from this year's winter. Yes.
So I trying it now without the Wi-Fi. Just the Wi-Fi connection.
It's, let's see. Say something.
Hello?
You say if it starts again, turn the camera. We'll try turning the camera off if it does it again.
Okay.
Sometimes cameras cause things to glitch. I don't know.
Yeah, if it's just audio, then it's less bandwidth that's using. Then we have both video and audio. So once you're turning off your camera and answering her question on how you steps to work with oil.
Yeah, of course, with the camera off. So I was saying with the oil paint, it makes it a lot easier to break it down into steps. Me, I do the drawing at first, and I turn it on canvas, and I do a layer just in black and white to establish my value range, and then I can go on top of that layer in color. So breaking the process down into steps really makes it easier, as well as I focus on one area at a time. So if I'm painting a face, I'll just paint a forehead in a given 2 to 3 hour session, then the nose, then the mouth, and then the eyes. So being able to focus on details makes it a lot easier to get complex painting.
Well, I got most of that anyway. I gotta say, I like the idea of painting in layers. I like the idea of starting in sections. Since I can only draw a stick man, it'll help me to do that. What is that, Boo? Well, no, Arthur's done quite a good bit. Arthur, you got a website they can go to or anything, or a Facebook page or anything?
Definitely. My website is arthurhaywood.com, ArthurHaywood.com.
It's just going to be rough, I can tell. Why do I have Thundercats up there? What the hell is that? Sorry, man. A big Thundercat emblem up on my screen up here for some reason. Oh, there we go. John put that up there. I don't know why he did that shit, man. Shame on you, John. I gotta watch him all the time. Y'all don't know, man. When I'm in LA, he's trouble. He is a bad influence.
Right.
His wife tells me all the time, Joe, be careful. John is a bad influence. Yes.
Wow.
What do you mean I don't know his wife? I know his wife. I've met her more times than I can count. Oh, no. She's nicer than I am. I'm just telling you up front. She's nicer than I am. Yeah. Well, I'm not saying she can't be mean. I'm just saying she's nicer than I am is all I'm saying. Oh, I have no doubt she's got a fire. She's a little side to her. What's that? Christina Applegate? Give me a break. Really? So I'm just going to let that go. Let it slide, Joe. Just let it slide. What do you got for Arthur? You like painting in oils too? Oh, no, I'll ask him. Hold on. She just basically wants to know if you have any specific type of paints or type of brushes that you would recommend for. She said she's in mid-level painter.
Okay, yeah. Many of the professional paints are easier to use. Some of the student grade paints have a lot more oil in it, so they're diluted. So it's harder to get a solid layer of paint. Use the professional grade paint, like Gamblin. Then you can get a more solid layer of paint. It makes it easier. But paint brush-wise, the brushes that I use are mainly the slick synthetic brushes. They're easy to clean. They last long in terms of compared to stable brushes. So economically, those are good options.
Yes.
Yeah. What was the name of the paint again that you recommended? Because you garbled out there.
Oh, sorry. I use Winsor and Newton paint or any professional grade paint will have a consistency that is more solid than the student grade paints. The student grade paints have a lot of oil, linseed oil that is mixed into it to dilute it. So that's why it's cheaper. But the professional grade paints have a more solid consistency because it's actually more pigment inside of it.
Got it. That makes sense.
Andy, I would bet you they sell them at Hobby Lobby if that's what you had just posted up there. Yep. Yeah, Hobby Lobby carries a lot of that stuff.
Is Grumbacher a good paint at all, or is that?
Yeah, it's definitely a professional grade paint. They'll have a solid consistency. Some of these paints, like Old Holland, have so much pigment in it that you kind of need to use some linseed oil to dilute it because it's so solid that it's hard to manipulate.
Yeah.
So you have to be aware of that, but you'll have a good consistency generally. And that's
What, Marshall, that's jibber jabber. If you're going to write a paragraph, write one that's in at least English that I can understand. Christopher, Mike, where are you, Christopher? What are all you people from England doing? Aren't y'all supposed to be in bed or something? Oh no, I'm sorry. It's only 11 p.m. I apologize. I thought it was late. I'm used to doing later shows. it's. I was just wondering. We get a lot of people from England. Usually, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning when you're writing to us. They're half buzzed and stuff. Anyway, what's your question for Arthur? Oh, so you want to know? Okay. Well, she stole your question. I'm sorry. So you want to know about canvases? That's a good question because dealing with some of the stuff I deal with at work, we used to just canvas stuff for different things. But are there really differences in canvases? I mean, is there a big difference or a little difference or what?
depending on the type of surface and effect that you're looking for, the fineness of the surface. So, like a linen canvas is very smooth. Some of the cotton is very rough. So if you want a surface that's smoother, it's not like the resolution.
I'm not getting this.
Yes, God don't want you speaking to us today. I don't know what that's about. We get you, and then we don't get you. Oh, I know, Bobby, man.
I don't know what that's about. I was saying that it's kind of like the resolution on the computer. The rougher canvases have a lower resolution generally. Like you have to stand back further to get a clearer picture. And the smoother canvases have a higher resolution where you can get up closer and it'll still look smooth.
Well, that came in excellent there.
Okay,
well, that makes
so
sense.
Canvas is the rough, and then doing is there such stuff like satin or silk? Is that a type of a canvas?
There are people who paint on silk and satin, and that can just be a bit harder to paint over because it's so thin. It can be harder to manipulate. You can actually puncture the surface potentially.
Yeah, I would think you want to spray on satin or something, or silk, or something along those lines, or screen it where you dip it in the water.
Yeah, pretty thin surface, so I mean, there's a potential of getting a hole in it.
Yeah.
It's Jesse. Where are you at, Jesse? Seattle, Washington. Boo, boo, boo.
Joe, this is a writer's quill, author's quill. This isn't the
no. I'm only booing because the volcano's about to get them. That's the only reason I'm booing. Because I hear there's a volcano about to explode and get y'all if y'all been having earthquakes and stuff. Yes, y'all better be careful, people. I'm booing y'all because y'all won't get out when you should be leaving for the earthquake. The volcano is going to get you. I just wanted to warn y'all. Anyway. Oh wait, where's Echo? She's in Oregon, huh? Yeah, she's in Oregon.
She's in.
No, she's in Washington. Yeah, she is in Washington. Well, you can go check out Echo Chang. She's got a shop up there in Washington, somewhere close to Vancouver.
Yeah, she's near the border, Sammamish or something like that.
Yeah, she's told me a dozen times. It just goes out of my head. My brain don't keep weird names in Washington State anymore.
Yeah, she's there on that Kamano Island or Kamano Island.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so wait. Are you asking? Is it okay to mix different oil paints together, or are you asking if you can mix oil with latex or oil with acrylic? It's because one's a big boo boo. So I'm just trying to figure out which one you're asking. So you want to know if you can mix like with your cheap oil paint with your expensive oil paint, and would it give you a medium oil paint? Arthur, is that true?
I do that all the time to save money.
Okay, so.
Yeah, I do that all the time to save money, to use the student grade oil paint for background areas, which are pretty flat, and then to use the professional grade paint where it's more detailed. And so there's no rules. It's not illegal. So there's no police are going to come in if you're mixing paints. Generally oil paint dries slower than acrylic paint. So in the long run, maybe over 100 years, there could be some cracking that happens. This is all unknown, but generally anything goes.
Yes. Remember, people, oil is not that hard to repair. No, I've watched quite a few repairs done. Well, I've actually repaired walls, painted in oil. Yeah, big walls. He's
Wow.
500 feet long, 150 feet tall. That's a whole different kind of thing.
Wow.
But it's
But
still the
like
same
Rembrandt
principle.
with his oil, his stuff hasn't cracked, has it? And those guys?
Well, I know some of them had some really thick paint.
Mhm.
I know one of them. I remember hearing about one of the artists. They said the paint was probably 500 years old, and they're not even sure if the bottom layer is even completely dry. I was like, what? But then, not really thinking about it. If you're painting oil when it's tacky and not completely dry, yeah, it could stay wet indefinitely.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because you put a varnish on it after about 3 weeks and things won't change. But, things can continue to change with weather-wise. It's
yeah.
hot. The surface can definitely continue to bend.
Hey, Colleen, how you doing, boo? It's Well, yeah, I know things that shave. What do you mean? Just the reason I like oil for a couple of reasons. One, it feels like it pops more to my face. It actually gives the painting more like it's moving. And I also like when I touch it, the sensation of the oil itself, the waves, the tips, the curves, the smooth, the brush strokes. It's a personal thing. That's all I can tell you. I like all art. I'm not going to lie to you, but I prefer oil. It's a personal thing. Everybody has their personal stuff that they like. Yes. If I was a billionaire, I'd have oil all over the place. Yes, it'd be like a gallery in here. Whatever. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, you got some really high dollar oil paintings you want to send me, feel free. My address is actually on the website. Just box them up and send them over. I'll put them right there behind me. You'll be able to see them from time to time. Yes. What is that? Stephen, where are you at, Stephen? Atlanta, Georgia. How'd y'all fare from the storm up there? Everything okay? Everything doing good. I've talked to some of my friends in Tennessee and Carolina. Not all of them had the best trip. What do you mean by waterproof? Okay, I'm not exactly sure what he's asking you, Arthur. He's saying something about if oil was exposed to like the weather for a day or two, a rain or something, is it savable?
Definitely, oil paint is not water permeable. So if some water gets on oil paint, it really won't change. Light does more damage
Yeah, that's what I was
than
thinking.
water to oil paint. There are varnishes that you can put over things, even for those outdoor paintings that can be latex or oil based. There are like mural varnishes that can be very almost as thick as a coat of glass, to help ease some of that destruction that light can do. But if you leave, a painting out in the sun, that, normally will change it over time.
Yeah, I could see where oil does fade. It's one of the reasons we don't recommend it to be used as on woodwork in apartments because it can fade after a few months.
Yeah.
Even if it's a few years, it just depends on the amount of exposure to the sun to it. But
Right.
Yeah, I have one question too, Arthur. So you won the Illustrators of the Future contest and you entered multiple times. Can you talk, because we obviously have a lot of artists listening right now asking these questions. Can you address like the value to you of entering the contest and what the significance of entering and moving up the ranks to go from, just submitting to being an honorable mention to actually winning?
Definitely. I feel like each time that I entered, my illustrations improved in terms of emotion and storytelling. And I applied 7 times over about 2.5 to 3 years. And while I was developing my fantasy portfolio, so I was creating the paintings anyway. And
Yeah.
the contest was a great way to share the work with people that are in the industry, and it's free. So I really saw that there was nothing to lose and everything to gain from entering the contest and developing my portfolio with the encouragement. Joni would always encourage me to keep applying. So there was so much support, even while developing my portfolio. And when I won, I felt like a door had opened into the illustration industry in terms of me wanting to do book cover illustration professionally. There are so many art directors, illustrators, people in the publishing industry that are part of this contest. And I was very fortunate to be able to meet a lot of those people at the gala event while I was in Los Angeles. And so now I'm just really looking forward to growing with that community.
Yeah. And then there's also that week-long workshop too, or almost a week-long workshop that you attended with Echo and several of the other judges teaching. How was that?
That was incredible. I mean, I gained so many tools for creating, submitting, sharing, and protecting my artwork. from the advice from the workshop instructors, as well as all the people that I met, publishing wise, writing wise, during that week. And it was so great to connect with so many like-minded artists and writers. And I think some of the connections that we have established will continue to grow and fuel us as we continue to spread our art and writing into the art world. We're all in one art world together, and I'm just excited about what we can create together.
Right. And then there's also, you had several essays that you read by Hubbard on the subject of art. Any of those that particularly stood out for you or that still resonate?
Definitely. There's so many things he was writing about art as communication. And that idea of seeing one of the most important points that stuck with me. The more simple they can make the communication, sometimes the more effective it can be. The communication doesn't have to be extravagant. Sometimes it can just be the most basic symbols, a silhouette that communicates a message. So that was one of the most important that stuck with me. The overall idea is the dialogue that can be created. It's not necessarily about impressing. It's just about being able to have a dialogue and share, emotion, story, audience.
Right. Yeah, he calls it a quality of communication.
Yep.
So that's good. Have you met Banksy?
I've not met him. I know of his artwork.
Or her, or whatever, the mysterious artist that.
Artist artwork. I have not met them in person though.
Yeah, they're just, you still look up and like Banksy. Nobody knows if it's, obviously somebody knows who Banksy is, but it's one of the most well kept secrets in the art world who Banksy is, and I say he because of that's what I've been saying for a couple of years here, but. Just in terms of the quality of the art. And you see these places on the murals, which now get covered with plexiglass to protect it so it doesn't get messed up because it's so valuable now.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard of people taking down walls to sell and collect at this point. It's so funny. These are some of the walls that people were excreting on previously that are now they're taking into their homes to collect. It's really interesting how the value, monetarily of art can change how people perceive it. The work is incredible.
Yeah, but it's just part of the mystique of it too. Is just that it's all done and nobody knows who it is, and it's like, when was that done and how was that done? And you go there, and the next day you see something on the wall. Is Banksy still creating the art?
I don't know the details. I would imagine so, but there's so much kept in secret about the artist.
Yeah.
I don't know the details of it. I would imagine so. The artist is very popular, so there's definitely so much more room to grow.
Yeah, one of the guys that we work with here, a photographer, we met him a couple of years ago. He's the photographer for Banksy. Mm-hmm. He won't say anything. He says, "Look, I can't say anything about it," but. Mm-hmm. This photographer, he'll travel around and do photo shoots with Banksy, with the art, not shooting Banksy because he can't shoot Banksy, but shooting the art that's done. And so he'll do that type of stuff. But it's just amazing, just that whole mystique, which adds to the value, obviously.
Yeah, it adds to the story as well too. This idea being created magically overnight. You don't see the process, you don't see the artist. You just see the artwork. And I think there's a special value to that of just focusing on the artwork itself, as opposed to necessarily an artist's reputation. You can just focus on appreciating the artwork. That has a special quality to it as well. Yeah.
Now you've got a special, you've had like a very special life. You've got like amazing parents. Your dad's a senator in the state senator in Pennsylvania, and is just totally supportive of the arts. And your mom she's is it a school district teacher or is it a library director?
Yeah, my mother has been the president of the school board. She's retired now. She's a lawyer, and she was also president of the school board. So I was very influenced by my parents' engagement in terms of education. My father's organized reading camps as a senator.
Yeah.
Very active with schools. So that it definitely influenced me to be able to want to share my art through books. In publishing and doing paintings for public schools, encourage students to read. I was really able to see the impact and influence of education in terms of opening up opportunities. So I was able to share what I already loved, these fantasy stories with an audience that can connect with it, which is young students, people who read, well, too, people in schools. So that definitely influenced my path into career-wise.
No, that's amazing. It's like, they're amazing parents. We did that one podcast interview with you and your dad.
Yep.
And your mom was there in the back in the room, sitting on the couch, just like smiling and nodding along, just like, yeah, she's so supportive. It was obviously so supportive of you and your career trajectory. And they're both very proud that you won the contest. So that was pretty cool. Just the camera, when it went to the table they were at, as you were being announced, they were obviously like, the cat's meow. They were like so smiling and so happy. You see them with your dad with his phone there, taking a picture of everything that was happening.
Yeah, I was so blessed that my family was able to be there. My aunt was there, my cousins, and even my friend, my mentor, who I initially started taking graffiti, was there. He lives in San Diego now. And I was really so blessed that my whole family was able to be there for that occasion.
Yeah, no, it was great. You had a whole table pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
No, that was great.
Yeah.
So did we get that question answered, Joe, on the type of surface to paint on? Now that we've got it, he seems to be in good shape.
No, I think we got it then, but it just took a little while to get it through. It's it's kind of strange. I'm getting ready to invite our other guests in a few minutes, but it's I was thinking I said that's a strong influence for a young person growing up. The family influence you had, and God bless your mom. Anybody dealing with anything school board related has got to be a freaking saint. I'm just going to be honest with you. I've had my share of dealings with them, so I know how it can be. Why, Chris? No, that's a touchy thing. People, want their kids to see certain things. Plus, now you're in Pennsylvania, which everybody and their mama's got their eyes on right now. So
yeah,
it's everybody's looking at Pennsylvania right now. Oh yeah, it's a big state right now. Y'all should be asking for all kind of stuff right now. We need this, we need this, we need this. Oh, wait, you want us to vote? No, we need this, this, and this. Come on now. Tighten up, people. Tighten up. It is kind of funny watching. But so do you have a, so let me phrase this question correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, when you're looking for something to draw or something pops into your head, is there a specific genre or just you're like, wow, that looked interesting, or I got this idea, let me put this down and see what it's going to come out to look like? I'm just curious because I know some people do these elaborate pre-drawings and all kind of stuff before they draw. And then I know some people will see something just out in the world and come home and paint a picture. And it's hard to tell who's who or if it's a little bit of both or a lot of each when it comes time to really put that brush to the canvas.
Right. Yeah. So some of the artwork that I do is commission based. So in those terms, the commission directs the theme, but always there's a connection that I have emotionally with the theme, even if it's commissioned or not commissioned. My art is an overflow of the emotions that I can't keep inside always, whether it's in my sketchbook, whether it's for a commissioned illustration or painting for a school. The major theme in my paintings is showing human aspirations through a fantastical lens, showing the difficulties that we overcome just through metaphors of fantasy, whether it's spaceships, being able to persevere against spaceships attacking, or being able to defeat dragons. That's just a metaphor for defeating evil. So I just use the fantasy genre as these real emotions that I have that I want to share with other people, or that I just can't keep aside, that I think about at night. And a lot of those ideas come from books, literature, things that I read. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. I say a word is worth 1,000 pictures. Just thinking about the word fire, so many visual cues come to mind from one word alone. And so I gain inspiration from reading and art, writers that are very descriptive, like Tolkien. You can really see it in your mind. And that definitely gives me a lot of inspiration for what I depict in my paintings.
Well, I know there's a lot of stuff out in the world to be looking at the painting.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a lot of controversial stuff these days too, but still, there's just so much out there that you can take and make your own.
Mm-hmm.
What's that? What is that? What, Jimmy? You know what? You're right, Jimmy. I have not seen that much political drawings this year. I have to agree with you. Usually, there's a lot more cartoons and a lot more stuff, but for some reason, this particular season, not so much. Maybe the artists are on strikes and we don't want to draw these people. We're going to take it easy. I have no idea why. It is weird though that you said that, because usually by now I would have seen a couple of hundred cartoons, maybe a couple of good pictures, some nice memes. It just seems to be different for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's respect for their elders. I have no idea what the hell it is. Hold on. Let me scroll this back. I can't hit scrolled up on me. So Pete's asking, wait, first, Pete, where are you from, Pete? Clearwater, Florida. Oh, how are you? And did you survive all of this? Well, apparently you did, because you're chatting with us. But so 3 homes going next to you. Your house survived. 2 homes going on the other side there, and then your 2 neighbors survived after that. So what was it? 6 out of 25 homes on the block survived. Completely intact. You could move back in. You're running on a generator. Wow, that's crazy. You got you some Starlink from Go Elon, baby. I don't know. Elon's changing the world. Anyway. So he's since he seems to be stuck in Clearwater, Florida, and he's looking at these gorgeous beaches and the birds. He wanted to know if he should go with an oil, or should maybe he try pastels. He said he's not sure which would bring the colors of the beach and the sunsets and the sunrises and the ocean alive the most. I say oils, but that's just me. What do you think, Arthur?
Yeah, I mean, with the oils, you can keep on adding and blending. With the pastels, it kind of gets to a point, if you do not do a lot of planning, that it just becomes muddy and brown. So the oil paint is just more forgiving. If you make a mistake, you can always paint over it.
That's what I was thinking.
Do you have to wait for the oil to like set before you paint over it?
For me, after about 12 hours overnight, it's dry enough to paint over.
Okay.
Yeah, unless you just globbed it on there, it dries fairly quick. I mean, not like acrylics, but still. No, Jimmy, you can blow on acrylic, man, and it dries. You're like, it's especially anything latex, it's real thin. It'll dry in a couple of minutes. But there's some advantages to those, but there's some disadvantages to it too. Well, the acrylics won't fade in the sunlight like oils do. I can tell you that. But there are other risks. Like we were talking about paint peeling and stuff like that. You would rather have a paint crack than peel, because if it's just a painting and there's nothing behind it like a solid wall or anything, when it peels, you're going to see whatever it was on top of, because it's going to adhere to each layer of the paint. Doesn't matter how many layers you put, the acrylic's going to adhere to each one of them, and when it peels, you're just going to get that. Yes, I don't know. It's one of the things. What do you mean, schools? You can ask John and Arthur that. Maybe they both know. So Maria is writing in from Mexico City, Mexico, and she's just basically asking. She's getting ready to move to the United States. Her family's already here, but she's going to be moving at the end of the year, and wants to know if y'all would recommend any good schools for. She wants to be a illustrator that does work for companies, corporations, stuff like that. So I guess, what is that, like media, digital? I don't know. Arthur, Johnny, y'all know any good schools she could go to learn how to be a good illustrator?
So is she talking more about animation?
What are you talking about, Boo? You're talking about doing boards for like commercials. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, that's what she's talking about. She's like doing boards for that, or doing designs for companies that might want a new logo or things like that.
Yeah, I don't specialize in that genre of the field, so I wouldn't know specifically. Generally, the advice I normally give is to seek out training where you can develop as many skills as you need for the type of art that you want to create. So that may just take some more research. I don't have the insight because I don't, do work in that field. But if you can do the research to find out where you can get the training to do the type of work that you're looking to do, that would probably be the best route to go in. And seeing how you can apply those skills afterwards is how to continue.
Well, I know that Echo went to See, I think she went to Pratt Institute.
Yeah, I think this is where she went.
Yeah, Pratt. And then there's in Florida, there's we've had multiple winners from, I'm just looking to see right now where the art schools in Florida is, let's see now.
Dun, 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 dun. What's that, Jenny? Galen Westlake's going to be coming on with us in a few minutes. Yeah, actually, he's the author of the story that Arthur did the picture for. I know it didn't look good on oil. It looks good on the picture.
Thanks.
It was one of the more colorful ones in the group, by the way, too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
You know, well, I'm weird about oil to start off with, and I am weird about color. I like a use of colors where there's multiple colors that can be used together, but not look, just, how can I say this, stupid. Because sometimes they'll lay like a pink background behind something, and then kind of go over it with like a tangerine. So I just, and then they just kind of stack it, but it's still basically the same color. So you're nice and divided in this picture. I mean, the eyes, by the way, look fabulous on this panther.
Thank you. I try to use color as a way to direct the eye to the focal point. That painting the panther's eyes, the intensity of that gaze was the focal point, and the contrast really helped. Those green bright eyes are surrounded by a very dark and grayish color for the panther's coat, and so that contrast helped to make the green in the eyes pop out. So I use color contrast to really direct the eyes towards the focal points.
And it looks like you kind of gave like a little reflection against its nose from the colors around it.
Yeah, I try to seem like it's an immersive experience, almost like a mini diorama.
Like Chris, Chris, I'll show you again. Well, we showed it a little while ago, but I'll show it again. See, there it is.
Yep.
It's the panther, not the other one. Where the hell's my camera at tonight?
You're good. You're good.
So there y'all go. That's the. I mean, now you can just buy the book and see it for yourself.
Yeah.
Or you can get hold of Arthur and contract a version of it yourself. And maybe they'll sell you the oil. You never know.
Yeah, Ringling School is the other one I was thinking of in Florida. That's in Sarasota. We've had, I think, 3 or 4 winners from that school.
Which one? That copy? No, you can't have it. Look, that copy's bent. You can't have that. Look, see, look at the thing.
No, you can go online and you can buy them from Amazon, or you go to Barnes and Noble, or you go to Books A Million.
You're not getting my copy. This is why you're not getting my copy. See, can you see any of them? Oh, that's why you ain't getting my copy. It's no, that's just actually you can get this copy with. I don't know. Can you still get these with the signatures in them?
Possibly
like
at Books A Million. If you go to Books A Million, we had I think 200 books that were sent to them with signatures of all the winners.
Yeah, you might get lucky. That's what John's saying. You might get lucky. Or you can just win, and then you can get them signed yourself. Yeah, see that? That's right. Just win, people. They only do 24 winners here. 12 and 12. Who the hell told you they did 40 winners? That would be a nightmare. Look, they are ungodly working as it is with 24 winners. Well, it's 12. Well, you're not thinking of it, though, Jack. It's not just the 12 winners on each side. You've got all the judges there and all the staff there. And then you got pain in the ass people like me running around. There's just a lot they're doing going on. Yeah, y'all just think of it, it's only 24 people. It's you got all the judges there as well. And then all the other stuff and the events that go on. And it's interesting, that's all I can tell you. Winning, you'll find out. Yes. Just go over there, submit the book, boom, writersthefuture.com. And there you go. As long as it's less than 17,000 and it's not nasty, you might get lucky. What do you mean? Send me chocolate? That's not going to help you. You might send some to Emily, but that's not going to help you either. But you can try. I'm just saying. You can try. She prefers Canadian chocolate, just so you know ahead of time. If you're going to bribe, you have to do it correctly. I would try sending her some tiramisu is what I would send her.
Now, just so you know, only people that ever see anything to judge is the judges themselves.
Yeah.
All I ever see is the winning art or the winning story with a number, and then we find out who the person is. I have no idea who they've selected until they've sent, okay, these are the winning numbers, and then we find out who the people are.
No, John has nothing to do with the judging. No, that's not his job. He's not a judge. No, he's not a judge. Good thing he's not a judge because none of you people would ever even get in there. He went different kind of book. No, I'm just teasing. No, that's all you can do. When you ask about how many times people have submitted, it varies from 1 to 48. It just depends on you and how well you get. I find for authors it's around 14 or 15 times. Illustrators win a little faster than authors do for some reason, but still.
But like Arthur said, he was 7 times.
Yeah,
so.
It varies. I mean, I've interviewed about 70 of them now, 80 of them. Anyway, it's close to 100 with everybody on each side. But I mean, it just seems like 14 for authors is a good round number. You mean age-wise? Okay, well, age-wise, the illustrators tend to be younger than the authors tend to be older. And when I say older, I don't necessarily mean old, but 30 to 40.
We had an illustrator winner that was 73.
Yep.
And we've had illustrator winners that were like 15, 16. And we've had same thing with writers. The youngest, I think, writer winner was like 16. That's happened once or twice. Normally, they're in their 20s on up from there. But we've had a lot of winners that are 50s, 60s, and and 70s.
It stretches around.
Yeah, because that's not part of what the judging process is. All the judges see is the work and the numbers. They have no idea of your age, ethnic, nationality, nothing. It's just.
Yeah. And really, they don't care either. To be honest with you.
No.
They care about the story they either the story in front of them or the artwork in front of them.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the illustrators pretty good, and they know their stuff, and they're going to judge you accordingly.
Yeah.
They're not just judging you how pretty your artwork is, but there's a lot of other things that go into it. Because I've talked to several. Actually, you can go listen to the shows I've done with Dan, with Tom, with Echo, with Larry, and you can see what they're talking about and how they're doing it. Yeah, go listen for yourself. Hear it in their own words. You don't have to listen to me in my words. It'll just be boring listening to me, but they'll tell you what they're looking for and tell you how you can get, I don't want to call them shortcuts because they're not so much shortcuts as they are proper ways of doing things. That might be a better way of saying it. Doris, am I saying that correctly? Where are you from? Germany. What part of? Oh, you're not going to tell me. I'm sorry, I didn't see that till after I asked. It's not like we're going to come over there and get you or anything.
I'm going to be in Frankfurt, Germany, about a week and a half for the Frankfurt Book Fair.
Oh, now she definitely ain't going to tell me where she's at. No, he does go. You can go see him, buy him lunch. Yes. Go buy his man lunch. He's starving. Emily never feeds him. Go buy him some lunch. No, yeah, I'm kidding. But he will be there. So if anybody wants to come up and say hi or something like that, and say how much we love the world and things like that, I'll always be sure.
Yeah,
well, I'm sure. How many people attend this?
I'll be in booth Hall 4 and 4.1, and booth is E74.
Yes, go by and stop and see him. Say hi. No, I don't think he speaks German, but I don't think you really need to when you're there. Well, all my German friends speak English, but that's the only way they can talk to my ass. I'm not using a universal translator now. Not yet, anyway. Maybe if I go to China or somewhere like that. Russia, one of the more dogmatic languages. But I'm getting ready to bring our second guest on in just a second. It's Galen Westlake, and he's going to be on with us just a second. No, we're going to keep Arthur for a couple minutes with us because Arthur did the artwork for Galen. So let me drop him on up in here with us. Boom! There we go. How you doing there, Galen? What's up, baby?
Hello. Good to see you both. And Arthur, good to see you as well.
Likewise.
Yes. So these two fellas know each other, in case the audience doesn't know. And Galen is the author of the story that Arthur Illustrated. For some reason, I said author, and my brain froze. Like, wait, what are we talking about?
I'm the author. He's the Arthur.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what it
Exactly.
was. Oh, that's where my brain just went on overdrive.
I'm with you.
Well, how you been, Galen? I mean, everybody's treating you good? Or,
I'm under the weather today, but so be it. Happy to be here.
I hope you start feeling better, man. It's
Yeah.
been a little funky around certain parts of the world and the country lately. So, what's that?
So is
Janine?
what's really behind you like dismal and dank, and all the trees are all ripped out and everything like that? Looks like you're green screening us.
Yo, yes, this is where I want to be, not where I am.
Yeah.
I'm in a dark basement.
Oh,
So
got
it's,
it.
So I use this for my my facade. So if my head sort of appears to float in and out, I'm not a ghost. It's the quality of the green screen.
It's still nice that they have those these days. Make life easier on people. Every now and then I'll put one on when I'm doing something. When I'm not sitting here, I'll usually put one on for something else.
Yeah.
So let's just get into it. First off, just the basic question, which I ask everybody a million times, must drive everybody crazy. What was it that made you think you could write? I mean, what was it? Was it mom? Was it dad? Was it brother? Was it sister? Was it just you? Something you seen on TV? Some author you read one time? What was it that gave you that pinch, that push, that said, okay, I can do this?
I don't know, an oversized ego, maybe.
At least you're honest.
Think you could dare to do such a thing? I know a friend of mine described it to me once, and I'm embarrassed to say it kind of resonated. It'd say it's a bit like a disease. The best way to find out is to stop writing, and if you can, congratulations. And if you can't, the bad news is you're a writer. So it's something you have to do, and from time to time, you got to write.
Just sit down and write. Are you a 9 to 5 writer? Just whenever I feel like it, whenever it hits me in the head kind of writer? A little bit of both. I'm just curious because I meet a lot of different writers, and I get some that are what they call professional writers who write they put out a story a week. And I'm like, how the hell you do this 9 to 5? That would drive me crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm not at all that prolific. My shtick is I write on a commuter train every morning. So that's where I find my time to do it. It's kind of
that would be a good place to write. Less distractions.
Yeah, he knows where to edit it based on when people looking over his shoulder stop reading it.
That's right. That's
Exactly.
right. I get very very disappointed when people stop reading.
Say, okay, what's going on here? What's that?
What was wrong with that?
Yeah,
that's good stuff.
So I'm just curious, what was your reaction when you went when we had the art reveal and we had all the artists around the side and you walked in there? What was your like? How long did it take you to find your painting, and what was your reaction?
Oh my God, it's beautiful. I think I even have it with me. I think I went and brought it. Arthur actually gave me a copy, I kind of stole it from him. Yeah, the green screen's not going to show this. There we go. It's gorgeous. And it's so amazing to see somebody else interpret your work like that at such a high level.
I know. Huh?
It's an experience I may never have again. So I'm extremely grateful to Arthur for that.
So how was it when you like his depiction of your creation? How did that, how was that for you? When you say like, was that how you envisioned what you were writing, or was like, wow, I didn't think it was, that's way more than what I thought, or what was your take on that?
Yeah, I like it better. I now mentally envision my protagonist from the story as per the art. So it wasn't exactly how I thought of it, but I prefer the interpretation, and I think everybody interprets everything differently.
Yeah.
And then when you see the art, it can kind of crystallize things for you.
Yeah. So Arthur, what was it like for you when you first read this story and then came up with the different, because you had to do 3 concepts, right?
Right. For me, it felt like a perfect fit in terms of the very hopeful message of keeping imagination alive in the story and the idea of the theme of human aspirations in my own work. It seemed like the perfect fit of artwork that I create. And so Galen's writing was very descriptive, and that really helped guide me through the visualization of what the imagery would look like. And I mainly wanted to focus on the highest tension point in the story, where he had to try and get around this imaginary panther. And that really helped guide me. That climactic moment, how he described all the tension involved, really helped guide me visually for how I wanted to portray the dynamic of this huge panther and the smaller Dan, and the sort of David and Goliath dynamic that he described in the story.
Yeah. It was such a fun story anyway.
Yep, it really was. Magical.
Cameron, you can, what's the name of the story again? It's in book 40. Yeah, so you can just buy book 40 and get it.
Joe, are you wielding a lightsaber?
Yes, I am.
I agree with everything you say.
I'm ready for you people, buddy. You see what happened to the alien behind me, my friend? he got sassy. No, you can get it. No, I was asking what was the name of the story because somebody just asked me what I could get it. No, you get it in book 40.
The Imagalisk.
Yes, you can,
which is a made-up word, and so.
Doesn't matter as long as it's a word. They don't care. No, it's in book 40. I don't know if it's available anywhere else. You have to ask Galen.
Yeah, it's right. I mean, the story. No, it's in. I think you just have it right there so far. In that, but you can find the book though in Books A Million, in Barnes and Noble, most independent bookstores, and obviously on Amazon. And then, if you're in Canada, we're on there with. We're up there in most of the bookstores up there, as well as the online sites up there as well.
It's yeah, y'all can get it just about. And if you can't find it there, you can always go to galaxypress.com and buy it there.
Yeah,
it's no, that's their home site. Yeah, that's their home site. No, that's where the book's published from. Yes, galaxypress.com. You can get it there. It's what do you mean? No, actually, I get most of these stories. So John sends them to me usually a couple of weeks ahead of time, and I get a chance whenever they can. They send me the press version, and I read it, which I've got one of them around here somewhere.
The ARC, the advanced reading copy.
Yeah, so I read that one, and then I tend to read it on the airplane going in. That way I have a much better idea. But this year I got to cheat a little bit because I got to read the book and talk to everyone before I met them in LA. So I got to see them, meet them, talk about the story, read the story for a second time, and then talk with them again about it. So it was much better. I had a much better understanding of the story is what I should say. It made it easier for me because sometimes I read fast. I mean, it's 12 stories, and actually it's usually more than 12. Well, yeah, I usually have like 14, I think. So, because I know there's the story for the cover and what else. Usually there's like 14 stories. But anyway, I'll usually read them the first time kind of fast. And when I'm on the airplane, somebody said, you can read the whole book in 3.5 hours. I said, well, I've read it once. I said, so it doesn't take me as long the second time. But I'll usually start reading it, on my way to the airport, and I'll read it sitting at the airport, and then I'll read it on a plane, and I'll read it at LAX waiting on them. And it gives me time just to go through it. And if it's a story or something that I really enjoyed or something I want to remember because there's a particular question I want to ask, I can read through that again too. Jimmy, anybody can. No, I won't write in the books. Well, I'll write in the copy he sends me because that's a different copy. But none of these I won't because these are all either autographed or being given away. Yes,
I like reading on planes. It distracts me from the fact that I'm hurtling through space at ungodly speeds.
I like to fly, but still, it does. Actually, you're right though, because once I pick up that book and I start reading it, next thing I know, we're touching down. It's time to get off the airplane because I'll get lost in the stories, and there are some really good stories. What is that, Christopher? I'm not gonna say that you're gonna like every story in the book. I personally like them all. Some I like way better than others. But I enjoyed all of them. I enjoyed them, and for some other reasons other than they were just good stories. I didn't have to see a bunch of blood and gore. I didn't have to hear about a bunch of sex, and I didn't have to hear about people lopping each other's heads off, or worse than that. So these are stories. I always list the stories when I tell people. I always list them as PG-13. That's how I list the stories, because really and truly, it's about where it's at. So they're good stories without having to be just complete. What word am I don't know. I can't find a word that I want to say that's nice, so we're just not going to use the word. But today, usually when you watch something or read something, there's usually a lot of either sex in it, gore in it, just things that you don't want your kids to look at. See, I'd let any of my grandkids read these stories. They could all read. Matter of fact, I think most of them have read them. So I wouldn't have any problem with that. But there's a lot of stuff I pick up and read, and I'm like, Jesus, man, I shouldn't even read this myself, much less let anybody else read it. What is that, Jimmy? What do you mean? The picture? So the picture we showed earlier and the one he just showed was for the story he just wrote, or a story he had written. Well, covers are important. They sell books. And I can personally attest to that. I have bought many books, and I've said this many times, by the cover. I'll look at the cover and I'll flip it over and read the back and I'll buy the book. Well, sometimes the cover's a liar. That's all I can tell y'all. Sometimes the cover should portray the story to a point that interests you without, like these modern day, when you're watching adverbs for a new movie coming out, 4 adverbs and tell you the whole movie. No, the cover should be just enough to intrigue you. But again, like I said, some covers are liar. They intrigue you a lot. You read the story, you're like, wait, where'd the rest of the story go? It's horrible, man. So I mean, do you have a particular genre you like to write in? Fantasy, sci-fi?
Both. Yeah. Anything that's speculative is probably something I enjoy. I do fantasy, but mostly science fiction.
Yeah, well, I like science fiction, so I'm not going to complain. I'm always looking for some good science fiction. But okay, so now science fiction can go a lot of ways now.
Sure.
So are we talking about space? Are we talking about near future? Or are we talking just insanities? I'm just curious because I mean you can incorporate a lot in there. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
The particular story that we were discussing earlier qualifies as contemporary fiction, or contemporary fantasy. Sorry.
That's a good way of looking at it.
So it's not something I really set out to try to target a specific genre. I appreciate for marketing purposes it's good to have a niche, but I'm not a person who's really found one.
Yeah, well, I mean, as long as the stories make you happy and then people enjoy reading them, I don't see what it matters.
Good story's a good story.
Yeah, good story's a good story. What is that, Deneen? Deneen is asking, well, first off, you know the rule. Where are you from before you even start? Boston. Yeah, Bostonian. You want to go party in the car around the corner? I'm sorry. I apologize for that. What's your question? Okay, where did it go? Where did it go? It says, Galen, do you have any stories that you would recommend that would help maybe loosen my mind so that I could write better? I've been trying to write for about 5 years, and I can kind of get a story out, but it seems like somewhere along the line it just locks up, or I forget where I'm going. Okay, I don't know how you can help them with that.
Well, I can try. I don't know if it'll work, but the fellow I like to read whenever I struggle is a man by the name of Dave Barry, who's a humor columnist for the Miami Herald. And this guy breaks every writing convention that ever existed because he's completely untrained as a writer. He's just super funny, and his stories work. And I love him. And when I read them, it just kind of reinforces that at the end of the day, if it's a good tale, anything goes. And it just causes people to relax about formalities and the rules. And it's a great guy to pick up.
Dane, have you got anything published? I mean, I hear you saying it, I'm just curious. Just short stories to no-name magazines. Well, you don't have to down yourself. The fact you got published is something. I mean, I've never been published. I mean, not as a writer.
I am completely unpublished as a novelist, so I am hawking novels probably like the rest of us, and hoping to have something happen one day. But I've certainly got a bunch of short stories that have been in.
I mean, a good novel is not exactly just an easy thing to write. I mean, a good one. I mean, anybody can probably write a novel, but a good one's a whole different thing. And good ones have a tendency to turn into movies sometimes, or TV series, or something else.
But good short story also turns into movies. 410 to Yuma, and there's
several. Yeah, that's true. They can be. It's just
Sorry,
Jackie.
Was that the Train to Yuma?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great story.
Yeah, but it's a short story that was made into a great movie.
Oh, yeah, it's a good movie too.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing, people. But you should not go into it writing unless you're being paid to write a script or something, I wouldn't go into writing your book as a movie. I'd just go in as writing it as a book. And if it gets to be a movie, that's even better. Well, because writing scripts and writing for a TV thing is much different than writing a book. Yeah, they want different things in there. Just things you have to stop and add. Yeah, I got a few friends that write scripts. They curse about it all the time. They said they would rather be authors than what they do for a living. No, they do not consider themselves authors. They write whole big stories, weekly stories, but they don't consider themselves authors.
Yeah, like I was just at the Salt Lake City FanX convention, and at our booth we had Kevin Anderson, Rebecca Messa, and he's got I think 180 novels he's published now, and he's been doing the Dune prequels with Brian Herbert, who's Frank Herbert's son. Frank is the one that actually created the first Dune books. But now Kevin is an executive producer along with Brian with the Dune movies. And so that came after the fact. I mean, that's been a project that was 10, 15, 18 years in the making. So it's a definite, they said, it's great when it happens, but they didn't write the books to be able to make movies. It was just the movies came after the books came out and had success. So that's the key thing. And then Larry Niven, he's had several. He was also at our booth, and Steve Sterling. They were all there all 3 days at the convention. Just tons of people coming to see them, which was great. And they've all had contracts and stuff for movies. And the only one I know of that's made it is Kevin with his books. So they're all very successful. They're very well paid in terms of authors. But it's just a matter of an author writes. You got to keep on writing and writing and writing. Like Hugh Howey, he didn't make it. He had some other stuff happening. He was going to be at the convention. He's actually in the middle of sailing down the eastern seaboard to Tampa. He's been 2 weeks sailing along just the seaboard from New York, and he's had 2 TV series. Silo, which is still going with Rebecca Ferguson, and he had another one. I forget the name of it right now. That ran 2 seasons, but he write the books for the joy of the books. Then Hollywood picked it up and turned it into a TV series. But it's when you're writing not to be a screenwriter. You're writing for your book for your audience.
But Netflix recently picked up the Uglies trilogy and turned it into a movie. I don't know if anybody saw that, but I saw that the people who hadn't read the book did not think too highly of the movie in the reviews, but it's a great series. So,
yeah, it's hard on people who see a movie and there's a big fan following, they don't understand why, and they're starting because the movies don't always start at the beginning. Neither the series. Sometimes they jump in a little bit and then come back. So a lot of times somebody coming in from outside is looking at it like, what the hell am I looking at? What am I watching? And it takes them time to catch up, or sometimes they're not that patient. But I see it a lot. It's kind of weird, and I notice Netflix does that a lot.
One of the challenging questions that sort of banters around for fun is name a movie that's better than the book, and there's a few out there, but they're far and few between.
Not many. Yeah, I agree with that. There's not many. Jesse, both of the new Dunes are out. You can get both of them. Yes, they're both available. Yeah, this Dune 2's been out for, I don't know what, 7 months, 8 months now. It might have been longer. Yeah, I've seen them both. I like the first version. The second one, I'm old school Dune, so it's a little hard on me on this one. So we'll have to wait and see where it goes. Well, they left it open because they're going to start.
Yeah, it's a 3-parter.
Yeah, so they left it open. So we're just going to wait and see where it goes. Yeah.
Rob Sawyer was telling me the story of Dunes, or the original Dunes publication. Do you guys know this tale? Am I telling you stuff you already know? But
no, tell me. I don't think I did.
It was rejected by every science fiction publisher in the world, and was eventually published by, I think it was like an auto mechanics publisher or something like that.
Yeah,
they were the ones who recognized its promise.
Yeah, I've got an interview with Brian Herbert that's on the podcast last year, and we talk about the history of Dune and everything that Frank went through to get that story published, and what it was based on, how he came up with Arrakis, and what he was trying to show with the book. It was a very fascinating interview because Brian doesn't do interviews, so he said, "Yeah, I've turned down many interviews, but because he's a writer's feature judge, said, okay, good, I'll do the podcast. And it was great just learning all kinds of stuff about his dad. I had no idea.
Yeah, because Frank wasn't exactly the most outgoing person there. He wasn't. I mean, he wasn't a big share of who he was. He was not like Gene Roddenberry, and even Gene wasn't that big of a sharer, but he was at least sharing some. What is that, Denise? Magell was a big sharer. Magell was different. No, in case y'all don't know who we're talking about, everybody out there listening, I was talking about Magell Roddenberry. Yes, Gene Roddenberry's second wife, third wife? I can't remember now. Yeah, she was played number one in the original Star Trek in the first episode. Or I should say the pilot, actually. What is that, Gene? Oh, Gene just wants to know if you got a website, Galen. They're on the website thing tonight.
Oh, I do. It's not impressive, but there is one, GalenWestlake.com.
There you go.
First name, last name. Yeah.
That's what's that? So
got
Maurice,
my bio on there and the stuff I've read, but that's about it.
So, Maurice, where are you from? Texas? Okay, you from the Longhorns? Are you from Houston? Maurice wants to know why you don't have a pen name.
I do have a Galen Westlake. Actually, is my pen name.
See, there you go. You see, y'all should be paying attention, people. Y'all might know what's going on around here.
A very good one.
That was like, ooh, man, that was a rough one.
But to be fair, it's a very bad pen name, so I can see why most people wouldn't suspect.
If it works, it works. That's all that matters. Because somebody asked me one time when I first got into radio, "You're going to use your real name?" Because I own a construction company, and they're like, "And you're not going to hurt your business?" What the hell? And none of my customers care. All they care about is how cheap the business is, and that they're getting a good job. They don't care what I'm talking about on the radio. But I thought about it for a long time, and then I said, what the hell? It's once it's out there. I did like that when they were talking to everybody about learning how to sign an autograph without using. I wish somebody would have told me that early on. That's something I learned with all the rest of y'all about. Don't use your real signature to sign your autograph. I was kind of like, I never thought about that ever. Because I did. I used my real signature like a dumbass. I just sign it away. I was surprised. Who was it that said that? I forgot which judge it was that was saying it, but they said you should practice and have your own your signature for your being an author, versus or your illustrator than your real signature. Well, no, Chris, it made perfect sense because if somebody learns your signature, they can go sign on your bank account or on your checking account or whatever the hell of account you may have. It's actually good advice, and it was something that I really wish somebody would have told me because I did. I don't anymore now that I know better, but I do it backwards now. Yes. So yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish your turn.
I think you can endorse checks without even signing them nowadays. So I'm a little less worried today than I would be even 5 or 10 years ago of check fraud.
Yes.
I mean,
well,
there still is fraud, but
oh yeah, there is.
Somebody figuring out your signature probably won't be the gateway.
The only thing we use a check for is to pay our mortgage. Everything else is online banking. Everything is online. And besides, you can transfer money around so easy now with all these different cash apps and stuff. Sure. It's a strange thing. So, all right, Stephanie. Stephanie said, "What was your 2 favorite things when you were in LA for the writer? While you were in LA for the week, what was your 2 favorite things?" You feel like you were there. Were you like working there or something? I didn't know who you were.
2 favorites. Okay, that was nice to not just give me just one. It was, believe it or not, I think my favorite thing was my cab ride to the event, which I got thrown in with Rob Sawyer. I was starstruck, and it was a great way to get over it because I was kind of worried about how am I going to get up the courage to talk to these people. And the next thing I know, I'm sitting right next to Rob Sawyer for the next 45 minutes or whatever it was. Yes. And he was so personable, and he just chatted me up the whole way and told me everything I wanted to know and stuff I didn't even know I wanted to know. And it was just such a great start that it kind of got the ball rolling for the entire event for me. So,
oh, that's great. He's such a nice man.
I'm a big booster of the cab ride, the shared cab ride.
I mean, this is the ride from the airport to the hotel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I just got a text.
we normally send drivers to pick you up.
You did. You
Okay,
did.
good.
And they combined me with Rob and his wife, who was also delightful.
Yeah,
And
Carolyn.
I'm so glad they did. They're probably like, oh man, I got to go with some newbie. But
No, they don't view that at all.
Yeah, what a great.
Rob entered the contest several times before disqualifying and proing out.
Oh, well, he's definitely a pro, and of course, Rob actually lives in the same city as me, so we had a lot to chat about there. I remember there's a mysterious plot of land. I'm killing his story, but there's a mysterious plot of land outside their condo, and in the city where I'm from, everything is built everywhere, but except for this one little square of land, which clearly needs a condominium or some kind of store or something, and nobody builds there. And nobody's built there for the last 20 years. And it's like a science fiction story waiting to happen, or a ghost story. Why is this plot of land unbuilt on? So we had a good joke about that.
Good. And here's Arthur. He's come to life.
Yes.
Good-looking guy, man. Yeah, he's a good-looking guy. He's
put the video on without worrying about the audio cutting out.
Yeah.
It's what is that more? Where are y'all coming up with these names tonight? Come on, are we like in Mars or something? Y'all been yelling at new Elon Musk club, aren't y'all? Yeah, that Mars club. I know all about that. What was your question before I went running off at the mouth?
I was supposed to name two things.
Oh, that's right. Oh yeah. See, I'm glad you wrote that because I would have forgot.
So you done number one, now number two.
I got to sort of narrow it down. I had a great time at the workshop. It was amazing. So I hope I don't do injustice. Obviously, the art reveal was huge, but if I got to get one more in, I got to go for the 24-hour story. I'm an old guy, so I was pretty intimidated to go for a marathon session like that. But it was something they make you do, and it was a great experience to do that.
That is one of my favorite events when I'm there. I mean, watching the faces. I remember Tim Powers caught me. This is my second year going up. And he pulls me in the center. He goes, "Joe, where were we? We were not at the Lowe's. We were at the Roosevelt." He said, "Come here. I want you to sit up here and just film these people while they're down there stressing." I was like, "Really?" It's like, yes. I sat down, got the camera. I put the phone up, got the camera out, and man, I mean, you see people like they got their pad in front of them. They're like eyes bulging out their head, look like Homer Simpson or something. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then I talked to quite a few of them afterwards. Quite a few of them told me the same thing. I wrote it, deleted it, wrote it, deleted it, went to bed, got up at 4, wrote it, deleted it, got up at 6, wrote it. Said, okay, this is going to be it. I was like, damn. And then some people said, they wrote it right away. When I was talking to Chris, he said he just wrote it. Wasn't even a big thing. He just sat down and wrote the story.
Chris Winspear?
Yeah. I think he was having a drink at the time, and he just went right through it and wrote it. And then some of the people seem to have no problem with it. Most people, I think they were just nervous for the simple fact that it was 24 hours. I don't think it was so much to do with the story, because all of them were pretty good writers and everybody's story was good. So it wasn't the fact that they didn't have the skills. It was just like, shit, you're kidding me. Really? 24 hours? You got to be kidding me, man. Come on.
It's really tough because I'm used to writing once I have an idea that I get jazzed about, then I'm going to sit down and tackle that idea. But this is like a pro scenario, which I am not, which is here's an object, here's a prompt, do it, make it happen. And it's got to be good. And I was like, oh, how am I going to do that?
No.
So.
Oh no, Jesse, they give him something to write. Well, yeah, that might be a thing, but it could be any damn thing. So some of the prompts were just, I'm like, really? You want to write about this? I was thinking, I feel for you. I'm glad I'm not writing this story. What did they do? I mean, what was the author's? I mean, what was the illustrator's version of this? I know Echo told me it was like an illustrator's version of the 24-hour story. What was that?
Not completely. We had workshops and different PowerPoints and slides, but we didn't have any assignment.
Oh, y'all lucky, man. We're going to have a talk with Echo.
Yeah, we did some sketches beforehand, and we were able to get those critiqued, but we didn't have actually an on-site assignment.
So, just on a side note for a minute, so what do you think about Echo? She's tough, ain't she, man? She's like, ooh, I will knock you out. You don't do what I tell you to do.
She's very helpful. All this she gave really helped improve my illustration, the one I did for the book, and even onwards, the illustrations that I do now. the way she was talking about moving the eye around the page were some points that I had not considered beforehand that have really helped me out with my current illustrations and artwork in general.
Yeah, she's a hell of an artist. I give her trouble, but she's really a good artist, and she's one of my favorites because she really likes oil herself, and of course she's got the naughty oil collection, which is one of my favorites. And her and I talk about this a lot when she's on the show. And but she's on. I mean, she's actually on before this show. So anybody who out there that is an up and coming illustrator artist, she's there, and she doesn't mind giving advice. She's pretty good about it, actually. You can come in, call into the show, write in, pop into one of the chat groups, and write to her, and she has no problem answering a question. She knows her stuff. First time I ever met her, she was half bent over things, showing the model how to pose. I never met her before. I was laughing my ass off. I got some good pictures. And I told her, I said, "Who are you?" And we became pretty good friends after that. But I noticed all the judges there, whether they're illustrators or authors, like when I'm talking with the author judges, I notice they go out of their way to talk to the winners. I have watched them come and grab people. Matter of fact, I was sitting down with Kevin J. Anderson and with Dean Wesley last year, and there was a group of people standing. And I looked over, and Kevin, he said, "You think?" I said, "Yeah, I think they want to come over here." And he said, "You think?" So I just got up, walked over, and said, I asked them first, but then I went over and got them and sat them down. You should have seen the smiles on these people's faces. It was ridiculous. You'd have thought I gave them $500,000 cash or something. But you had two big prolific authors that know their stuff, and they're going to sit there and talk to you and tell you how to be a good author. And things I like about it is they teach you more than just being a good author, being a good business person as well, or understanding the business of being an author or an illustrator. I like the fact that they include that in there. And I also like the fact that they include helping y'all to deal with media, because frankly, media can be a real pain in the ass. Trust me, I deal with them all the time. But I'm an old pro at this. I can be really mean to them. But I always warn people, pay attention to what you're doing and try to pick and choose where you're going to be. You may not always. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Joe. I was just going to pick up on your point about the judges volunteering their time. One of the, which probably should have made my top 2 list now that I think about it, is they informally have this thing called BarCon, where after the events, they just show up and meet you in the bar and just chat very informally. And that's where a lot of the real tips come out, in that kind of informal setting. And they don't have to be there, but they are. And the bar got closed a couple of nights, and they just turned it into LobbyCon. They just kept on doing it anyway. So
oh yeah.
I was incredibly impressed.
I mean, it's nice to get down there, and some will have a few drinks, some will just be getting something to eat, and they all sit around and talk, and it's really great to watch and listen to. I mean, there's a lot of great conversations that go on. There's a lot of information being exchanged, and you're right, it is informal. So everybody seems to be a little bit more relaxed, so they seem to ask a little bit more pertinent questions, because it's not, the pressure's not on you to ask in front of the group. You're just sitting there chatting with them, and you can ask a question that it does, if it's a stupid question or not, it's just a question to them. And I've watched them all. Who was it always invites him to his birthday and out to lunch every day? Was that Kevin? No, who was that? Damn, I can't remember now. He said, "Y'all want to come with lunch? Come have lunch with me." He's like, "Come on." He'd bring the whole crowd with him to have lunch.
Oh yeah, we had lunch with the judges almost every day. It was optional, of course. You very often do your own thing if you wanted to, but they pretty much told you where they were going, and if you wanted to join them, they'd love to see you there.
Oh yeah, it's just a great group of people. They're just all of them, and they could be snobs. All of them are famous in their own rights. They're all famous.
Yeah,
they're all comfortable. So I mean, they could be way snobbier than what they are. I mean, I've been to a lot of places. One of the reasons I gave John such a hard time about this one is a lot of places I attended, the judges were snobby. They didn't want to waste their time, and if they had to spend more than 10 or 15 minutes outside of whatever they were doing, it would aggravate them. Well, if that's you're going to do that, don't even get involved. You're there to help people. So everybody there always is. Every time I've been there, they're always helping people. They go out of their way to make sure that people are learning stuff. And I also noticed, with the exception of one year, I also noticed they're really good about bringing you out of your shell. In front of the group, they seem to be really good about pulling you out of your shell. So it's nice to see that, because sometimes like the first year I went with him, I was sitting there and everybody was kind of quiet and laid back. And I remember it was Todd McCaffrey and Dean. And these two are going back and forth, and while they're doing it, they're picking with the crowd at the same time with the winners. And eventually they got them involved, and it became a thing. And before they knew it, they were teaching them all kind of stuff. They didn't even the people didn't even realize they had just gotten played, and they were learning all kind of stuff. And but it was really, really, really good. Plus, them two are funny as hell together. They argue like your husband and wife. I swear, I would get to laughing at them. I was like, okay, I got to go sit down. Y'all are killing me, man. Y'all are killing me. But then, so for this year, I was going to ask you this earlier, Arthur, and I forgot. Who was the judges there this year? I know Echo was there. Tom wasn't though. Tom Wood was off on vacation somewhere with his sexy self. And Dan DeSantis was there this year. Okay.
Yeah, he was one of the judges. He
yeah.
Workshop there, there, that Echo was there, was there as well.
I got half of that. I think he's he's fun. He's a lot of fun. I know a couple people told me, well, he can be kind of tough. I said, well, he wants you to learn. I mean, that's what he's there for. And I had one or two people told me Echo could be kind of tough, but I know them both, and I don't really see them in that light. But I think they're both really nice people, and I think they go way out of their way.
Yeah, we had Dan Dos Santos zoomed in, and as did I think Larry Elmore also zoomed in, right? They both.
Yep, they were both able to zoom in.
Yeah.
Those guys are gods.
Yeah. They're something else.
So inspiring from every.
But then, Galen, what's the judges? Because we had a lot of judges there too for the writer's side too. Like, some of the deity, like Larry
Niven.
Larry Niven, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. Got to meet him and chat with him, and I think he was in the middle of a conversation with me before he realized he was subject to an NDA, and it was a good time.
Yeah.
Just to hear how his mind works was pretty incrable. Yeah. So Larry was a huge name. He's an elder statesman at this point though in his career, for sure.
Yes.
I mean, we've with Dean Wesley Smith. We had Sterling, of course. He actually has a story in the same volume, which is pretty cool.
He did the story for the cover art.
Yeah. It's the whole bunch of them are really good
Jody,
people.
Of course.
Yeah. Oh, and Jody. And Jody and I is always fun to talk with. She still holds the record on interviews on our network. She put the whooping on the judges, man. I'm gonna have to get some more judges on and give them a chance to catch up. Gee, one of her interviews we did was like 2.2 million. I was like, damn, Jody, what the hell were you doing? And I don't even know what we were talking about, but it was a good interview. And she's a lot of fun to talk to. But I mean, like I said, everybody over there, even the people who are behind the scenes, are a lot of fun to talk to because I get to harass them and stuff. And everybody over there is working their butts off. Everybody, even the winners are working. The staff is working. The hotel staff is working. The judges are there. I mean, it's a nice event, and it's well managed, well put together, and it seems like everybody who goes there leaves with something on the plus side. At least everybody I've talked to, anyhow. I can't.
And one thing too that's good between both the writers and the artists is that there's not like this is the way. You'll get up and you'll have writers. The writer judges will come up and say, okay, so you need to get out there and do the panels. You need to go out there and do the conventions. And the other judge will go up and say, yeah, well, you don't need to do the panels. You don't need to do the conventions. You just need to write your stories. Yeah. And someone else will say, okay, yeah, traditional publishing, the way they go. And someone says, traditional publishing is the death knell of a career of a writer. So you have both sides going, it's like, it's great. You can make up your own mind. You can put together your own thing. And I think on artists too, because there's so many different paths as an artist you can take, in different styles and different formats, so like some people prefer doing, old school they like to do the painting with a brush, and whether it's oil or gouache or watercolor or whatever it is, and other people saying, no, I just do strictly Photoshop and I just do everything on there. So you've got the whole, panorama of both arts that you can actually, learn from and say, okay, I want to do this or I want to do that. And then you've got some of the judges say, look, you got to learn everything. You got to be able to just be able to dance the dance. And that's how Echo survived so well through the pandemic, because she had, she couldn't do her studio, but she had so many of her customers that would just continue to buy from her that she did stuff online, so you got to be able to do it all. It's kind of like the punchline.
It makes it easier. If you can, if it's the talent you have, it makes it easier on you. It just opens more financial areas up for you.
Yeah, that's the thing that Hubbard did. He had 15 different pen names, and he even got one article that you read, Galen, on where he did the math. He worked out how much he was making for different types of stories.
Business of writing.
Yeah, and just it's like you're a business as an author, and so he worked it down like westerns, mystery, adventure, science fiction, fantasy, all these different genres he wrote in. Which ones gave him the most money, and that's how you'd know how to zero in, because he loved to write. He's been a writer, and so he just went through all the different things that he would use to be able to. Oh, that's scary, Joe.
Hey.
And so that was pretty cool there, just how you can really, just confronting the business of writing. And Kevin and Rebecca do their whole business lecture that they do on how to make it and what they did to be able to be before they were able to quit their day jobs. They had a year's worth of savings to cover all their expenses for 1 year before they quit, so that they could then be able to make it. So it's really good. The whole thing about Writers of the Future and Illustrators of the Future is we really want to make people into successful career artists, whether it's painting, illustration, or storytelling.
365 days of pressure. Make it or break it.
There you go.
When you're talking about the different perspectives, in my year, I think the big debate really was the self-publishing versus the traditional publishing.
Yeah.
We really did get a big cross-section of views on that, which was pretty good, because we got some people on the extremes. It wasn't just it's you can do both. It was no, this is what you should be doing.
Dean Smith is just he's hardcore,
fully on board.
He's something else, man.
Yeah,
he is a and a half.
And then you have like your Rob Sawyer and those that they prefer going the traditional, but they've made that, and that's how they got started. Steve Sterling, they're used to being the ones that write the books, and then the publisher deals with all the marketing and the PR and setting up all this stuff. And Dean is the other way, as is some of our newer judges.
What would they do if they started today?
Yeah.
That would be, because it's a different world today, but the Kickstarters and everything else. There's
a lot of ways you can make it, and the same thing with artists. You've got so many different vehicles than there were 30, 40 years ago. Like during, our founding judges, they had the pulps. That's how they were able to get stuff. And there's a few people that could do the slicks, but it was the pulps where they were able to do the covers and there weren't that many artists, that were able to make it with that. And so those were some of the, the first ones. And then you went into the sequential art, the guys that went into the comics and graphic novels. And, but now it's exploded with the different options that you've got to be able to get yourself out there. What's been your biggest thing that you found, Arthur, as a means of success to get your name out there and to get yourself known and just to sell, to make a career as an artist?
I think it's always ongoing. And for me, I feel like success is a feeling. It's not a dollar sign. And so I feel like the ongoing process of sharing my art, my public art, whether in person and online, has added to that presence and people being able to see what I'm offering. I found that people sometimes have to see what we're offering first before they can decide whether they want to support it. I feel like most of our interactions, especially in the social media age, are just reactions to our actions. So people have to see what we're offering to decide whether or not they want to support it. And I found that over time, when a community or a group of people connect with the message that an artist has, they support it in the ways they can. It can range from a compliment to funding. So I feel like it's always ongoing. But in the social media age, it's a lot easier to share with a wider audience. And I
Right.
felt a lot of gratification for sharing art, in person. Well,
Yeah. Have you arrived at the point yet where you're able to just totally survive on your art?
it always, for me, art always fluctuates. I was very fortunate to receive the Tulsa Artist Fellowship here in Tulsa, where I'm currently at. It was a 2-year fully funded fellowship where they cover the cost of living, they give artists a monthly stipend, and my fellowship term actually ended last December, but I was able to save most of that stipend to cover for this year. That savings is pretty much will run out by the end of this year. So it always fluctuates, I found, but I've been very fortunate in the past. For the past 5 years, since I got a fellowship in Paris, the Harry Haywood Scholarship, to do some paintings for public schools there. Since that time period, I was able to, have the funding and support from these residencies, first in Paris and then in Tulsa, to be able to focus on my art. And like I said, I apply to maybe 20 or 30 applications a year. And normally if I get one, it's the only one that I get. So I found personally that it fluctuates, but I keep a long-term perspective. And over the long term, there's so many things that can be accomplished, even if it's not full-time.
Yeah.
I get it there. And then Galen,
Congratulations.
you're like, you got your day job full time, and this is your avocation still at this point.
Me?
Correct? Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah. I'm just a hobbyist, really. I'm a lawyer, so that's most of the hours of my days.
Shame on you, like the money changes. Shame on you, brother.
That's right.
I'm just
That's right.
teasing. Some of my good friends are lawyers.
Yeah.
I do give him shit though. I got some good.
You call it a hobby. I call it an avocation.
I like that. That sounds classier.
It is.
I'm an advocate with an advocation.
Exactly.
What is that, Jesse?
I mean,
Why you want to know what kind of lawyer he is? We're not talking about that. We're talking about he's an author.
sure, I don't mind. I can talk about it.
Yeah,
I'm a very
he's $500 an hour, so help yourself.
I'm a very
That's
strange
right,
kind of lawyer. I work on a specialized team that fixes other lawyers' mistakes. I work for an insurance company that indemnifies lawyers who get into trouble. So I'm in a repair unit. And so our task is when somebody else goofs up, I work with a group of people who step in to see if we can fix it. And sometimes we can, and it's awesome, and sometimes we can't, and we pay a lot of money.
Oh,
So
well.
that keeps me on my toes and keeps me very busy, and occasionally it gives me some inspiration for things to write about.
I should think.
Yeah, being a lawyer is a good career. So
I feel like there's a legal thriller in there somewhere, but I still have yet to find it.
it's funny you said that because one of my cousins, one of my nephews who was a lawyer just passed, but as a billionaire no less. But one of my cousins who was a lawyer, he was always really talented illustrator when he was young. And he finally got enough money in the bank that he quit doing law and went to art school, did all kind of stuff. And the teacher told him, he said, I love you, but you're not an artist. Go back to being a lawyer. That's what So he went to, so he said, I'm going to college and they'll have to take me. And the instructor said, you're just not an artist. You just need to go back to what you're. So guess what he became? An author and has sold 4 books.
A lot of lawyers are very artistic people. I used to work with this one guy who decided he'd go write for a TV show called The Practice. And then he did Law and Order. And then one day they gave him his own show called Dr. House.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm a little bit jealous, a little bit.
A little bit.
I know, huh?
Some of my favorite authors, they're full-time accountants.
Yeah.
So there's so many things that can be accomplished over the long term. I think Lord of the Rings took over 12 years to write because he had a job, he had kids, and there's so many amazing things that can be accomplished over the long term.
Yeah, wasn't he a professor at Oxford?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would take a lot of train rides to write that trilogy.
Right. It's long lasting.
Yeah. So are there any other questions that any of the 13 billion listeners have right now that they
I wish we had some 13 billion listeners. We'd all be retired. I'd retire y'all with me. Let me see what we got over here. I was checking something else. Let's see. Marsha. No, that's a stupid question. Dan. Oh, Dan, this was for John. Sorry, I just seen it. Dan, calm down. Jesus. He said he was asking again where you were going to be in Germany.
Frankfurt. It's at the Frankfurt Book Fair, and that's coming up on. Let me look at my calendar real quick here. So the book fair goes from the. I think it's the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th of October.
Well, he said he lives in Rome, but he'll be attending the he'll be there for 3 days, is what he said.
At the book fair.
Yeah. So
so I'm in hall 4.1, and the booth is E74.
Stop by and say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring him a beer, you dumbass. I don't think you bring beer. Besides, I didn't think Spaniards drink beer. I thought y'all just liked your sangria. No, I'm just teasing. Before you start writing to my, if you have any moans, groans, bitches, and complaints, you send that to Michelle DeRoche. She's the manager. Yes. Said John Goodwin said it. Yes. Okay. Make sure you said John Goodwin said it. Yes.
No, so we'll be on record here with this show that she's going to watch to verify that Michelle DeRoche is a total sweetheart. I love her to death, and I'm so glad that she's a station manager.
I love her too. She's a good station manager too. Raymond, no, really, y'all got a couple of serious questions. We'll hold out for another couple minutes. But what is it you have here, Raymond? Raymond, where are you from? Pennsylvania. What part of Pennsylvania? I got like 5 hosts from Pennsylvania. What part of Pennsylvania are you from? And Galen's from Pennsylvania.
No, but
you from the bad part of Pennsylvania? What is it, like Philadelphia somewhere? Where the hell are you from?
I'm from Canada. I just respect Pennsylvania.
Yeah. He's another Canuck, man. I know they're like taking over or something.
Yeah,
we have 6 Canadian hosts, and the manager we were just talking about is from Canada herself.
It's the free healthcare. It makes writing possible.
It's what about it? Oh, you want somebody to write a story? Oh, you need these two to do an illustration and a story about Pennsylvania? Like what? What claim to fame? I'm not talking about 200 years ago either. I'm talking about now. Give me a claim to fame. Oh, no, that's politics. We're not going to talk about that. Sorry. Friday night, yeah, all you want, but not tonight. No, sorry, you can't talk about that. Move on. Next question. Well, because, these people get carried away with their politics sometimes. Friday nights we do news because, we discuss what's going on in the world. We discuss regular news articles. We also just do a lot of space science and stuff like that. But because it's a political year, we have an hour and a half of polls and politics. And oh my God, just shoot me down. This country is so polarized; it's just not even funny. And it don't matter what side you take; somebody's hating on somebody. It's just too much. I grew up and it wasn't like that when I grew up, man. Just because you didn't like the same guy, you didn't want to shoot somebody over. I'm like, damn. No, Carol, I'm really serious. Friday night, y'all can talk about that all y'all want on Friday nights. You can even stop by and pop into the room. We allow some listeners to come on air with us, yes, and get your opinion. What do you mean? Personally, I'm a centrist. No, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. Sorry. I started out as a Democrat, then I said they lost their minds, and I went to the Republicans. I said, shit, they lost their minds. So I became a centrist. That way I can equally opportunity hate on both sides. Yes. And I get to see things for more what they're really like than what they're not. You'll never see me vote because of a party. And if you want to know the truth, since Ronald Reagan, I voted for Reagan twice, Clinton twice. I didn't vote for Daddy Bush because he scared me. I voted for Obama twice. I voted for Baby Bush. Well, I should say I voted for Baby Bush once and Obama twice. I didn't vote for anybody since then. Sorry. Wanted the truth. I'm giving y'all the truth. When it came to you know who and you know who, the first two evils of Axis, I couldn't vote for either one of them. Second time around, I just felt like, oh my God, no. And this time, I'm just scared to vote for anybody. Right? I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. So
Well,
anyway, it doesn't matter. I will say this, like I always
people are
say.
watching the redo on the in Butler right now on Twitter. So that's because he's speaking again now. He went back to Butler. So many people watching it now.
I will tell you this: get your asses out there and vote. I believe in voting. I don't care what side you vote for. Just get out and vote, vote. And I have a rule. That's why you haven't been hearing me talk about presidents in the last few years. If you don't vote, you can't bitch.
Yeah,
you can write Joe's name in on your ballot.
There you go. See, there you go. I can see that fans could be knocking on my door and half million people. Oh, we were in that. People, y'all better behave your damn selves. I heard horror stories about some of them states around there. No, really though, it's important to me that people get out and vote, and I do. I have voted in all the Senate and all the local elections. It's just the last two presidential.
But make sure you register to vote in order to vote.
Yeah, go register to vote. Y'all still got a couple of weeks. Some states cut it off soon, but get out and vote. Just vote.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who. I mean, it matters who, but to you, get out and vote. You're 18 or older, and you can vote. Go vote. I'd like to see all 216 million registered voters vote. I'd have a heart attack. Last time they said it was 167 million people voted, and there was only 153 million registered. Don't ask. Just don't ask. That's what I say when I see it. I said, don't ask. It's not worth arguing about. It was late registrations is what it was. Yes. I don't know.
Voter turnout was unusually high in the last U.S. election, wasn't it?
It was very high. It was
record. It was a positive.
So for the Republicans, it was a record breaker in all votes, white, black, Hispanic, and overall voting. For the Democrats, it was also a record in how many people actually got out and voted. But they said something about it when it was all said. It's because usually only 33 to 50 to 66% of people vote anyway. So it usually doesn't go much more than 66%. I think the last election, it was somewhere much closer to 80 or 90%. But for some reason, they were saying the amount of people who actually voted, the amount of people who were registered wasn't the same. It probably wasn't, but we're not going to argue about that. We don't care. That
because
was
we're talking
4
about
years ago.
Art and having all kinds of great things for that.
So someone needs to write a book after this 4 years goes by. Somebody needs to write a book about the last 12 years. Yes. Some kind of movie book, maybe we should put it in the future somewhere and make it some sci-fi thing with spaceships and it's shit we can blow stuff up with. No, Jack. If I was going to vote for, to be honest with you, I was voting for Kennedy and he decided to go with Trump, so now I'm not voting for nobody. No, that's the truth. If you can go listen to my show on Friday night and you'll hear me say that. So that's just how that works. But really, people, get out and vote, get out and vote, get out and vote, get out and vote. Get your friends out and vote. Doesn't matter if y'all agree. You maybe not going to agree, but get out and vote. And just because you don't agree with your best friend, don't punch him in the head, okay? Just don't. Just, it's like, we need to learn political and religious tolerance in this country. You'd think by now, after 300 years, we'd have figured this out. But people, really, religious and political tolerance. Think about that. And again, one last time, and I won't say it anymore, get out and vote. Just get out there. What do you mean line? You don't have to stand in line to vote. There's all kind of polling stations where you don't have to stand in line. Miss Benson, before we go, what was your last question?
I'm so old that when I was a kid, we watched on the television when the vote finally got extended to everyone in South Africa, and the people lined up for days without food.
Oh, I can imagine they did there, man.
And when you watch something like that, you just have to respect that you have to vote.
There was a big stink in Georgia because there was lines, and nobody, it wasn't even a side. It was just some people who were going to come out and give everybody water because it was just so hot outside. It's in the deep South. And there was a big stink over it from both sides. They had like a conniption fit over some group out there giving away water. I was like, really? I was just stunned. I didn't know what to think about it. I was like, oh, okay. And they're giving out cold ice water that people have been standing in line for 5 hours. But who cares? Before we go, real quick, Arthur, where you headed? Anyway, what you plan on doing in the next 2 years? I'll let you think about it, Galen, because you're next.
So I'm continuing with my public art. I'm having a mural unveiling for a high school here in Tulsa next month.
Cool.
For a series of paintings I did of students chasing book pages together among the stars. And so I'm continuing with my public art. I'm also continuing with my illustration. I'm working on a illustrated children's book, a fantasy children's book about two kids that go on a journey to their pets and use the light within them to overcome evil. And so I'm continuing with my illustrations and public art and continuing to share it. So stay posted on my social media as well as website for updates, as well as my newsletter.
Well, make a video of what you were talking about earlier and send it to me, and I'll post it to our Facebook pages, or actually to one of our other pages. Yeah, we got a bunch of pages that they're public pages. We tell everybody to use it. I tell authors and illustrators all the time, feel free to post away, man. I mean, some of the pages got 80, 90,000 people on them, so just post. But send it to me. I'll have one of the girls post it up for you.
Thank you. I'll definitely send that to you right away. So much.
So Galen, what are you up to? See.
Next 2 years?
When I say your first name, I think of this guy, this sword guy. Man, it's from some story. Oh, why can't I think of this story now? It's going to be stuck in my head just because I said it out loud. It's almost like a King Arthur story. Anyway, when I remember it, I'll have a call and tell you about it. But for some reason, every time I say your first name, that's what I think about. It pops into my back of my head like, I'm waiting for you to pull out a sword. Aha, but F people, I got you.
There's something very classy about Galen. Yeah, okay. Well, for the next 2 years, I guess there's what I think I'm going to do, and then there's probably what I'm actually going to do. What I'd like to do is I'm going to get my sons to teach me how to code, and I'd love to try to write a story in the form of a video game, because I think that's a really cool, different kind of audience that I've never been able to experiment with. That would be neat. That's how a whole new generation actually gets their storytelling these days.
See, this is why I don't have therapy. That's from writing code. Just thought I'd tell you ahead of time.
I got a lot of steps to do before I get there, though, so I don't know if it'll happen. More realistically, I'll probably bang my head beating out a couple of novels that I can't get out of my brain and see if I can hawk those.
Yeah, well, hey, look, get them out there. I mean, this. I tell people all the time, you get one sent to me, we'll put it back here with one of our books. We don't have anything fresh right now because I haven't been harassing anybody. So there's 2 spots back there for books to sit in. Or artwork. I tell people all the time, you got something you're trying to sell, or you just want somebody to see something. Because we rotate the stuff. With the exception of Bob, he stays back there all the time. But we rotate stuff because if you look, you'll see there's a picture back there. Pretty famous one, actually. There it is. Move the mic out the way. See, this kind of stuff we post, and this is every time I've got this up here, people always write to me and ask me about this picture. First, they want to know what it's from, which is from Battlefield Earth. And then the second question is, when are you going to give it away? That's why you don't see as much as you used to. Because Steve asked me about it. When are you going to give it away? It's not being given away. It's my picture staying back there. I was trying to sneak Sarah into give me a different one, but she wouldn't go for it.
Yeah, I want your chair, Joe. Let's go for your whole studio.
Yes, it's I got a lot. We put a lot of stuff back there for people to look at. And if you are a reader, I mean a real reader, not a ladies and gentlemen, don't take this the wrong way. But if you are a real reader, we're not talking about David Hawkins' books, which are good. Death of a Taxman is fun to read.
Oh,
we're talking about all the Greek and Roman philosophers. What would you like to read? Have a good read. Let your brain throb out one side, then out the other side. And Jimmy, yes, some of the stories up there, like the Iliad and Odyssey's up there as well. So if you want to read some of the old great stuff, it's back there. It's a very old collection, so I've had it for a long time. There's actually 2 parts to this collection. That's all I can fit back there. But man, it's funny about that. You see it right now. You can see it when we're being watched on TV, like when we're on Roku television. We'll give stuff away. See, like you see him. I tell people I'll give you a book away if you can tell me what's in the right eye or the left eye, because there's stuff in there. See, this one's got something in it, so there's that one, but you can't see it on regular video. You got to be on you got to be on like 4K or high def for sure. But when they'll start telling me the names of the books behind me. They're like, oh, wow, who's this? I'm like, look it up. Look it up. Learn something. That's what the internet's for. Look the damn thing up. No, we're not giving nothing away. Calm down, people. Jeez, we're giving stuff away last week of the month. Yes, we're giving all kind of stuff away. No, I'm not giving that's my lightsaber, just like that's my picture. No, some stuff don't get given away. And
I'm giving away the table and the chairs in my backdrop.
There you go. There you go. He's giving it away. I might do some pumpkin
skill
stuff.
testing question required.
That's right. I might do some pumpkin stuff for because it's Halloween, but maybe we'll take Bob down and put a big jack-o'-lantern up there or something. No, it couldn't be on the books because it would mess up the books. None of those books you see up there are going to be given to anybody except for. Nope, none of those books up there will be given to anybody. They're all my own personal books. And eventually they'll get moved and something else will get put up there. But I tell people all the time, I tell authors and illustrators, I'll just send one, drop it in the mail, we'll put it up there. And we'll leave it. It stays up there. For this poor guy here, you can't see it. It's right here. This story, whoops. Oh. And of course, I give these away that illustrators and artists give me bookmarks and stuff like that. I give them away all the time. And but this is non-human. Yes, this is a scary story. It's about some stuff at Windlesham Forest at the Eastgate, and that book's been up there for a year. It sat up forward for a year. Last time I talked to Gary, he said he sold about 500 books from us over a year's time, so he was happy. But I never know what's going to sell. We put stuff up all the time. Sometimes people buy this, sometimes people buy that. Some people just, you don't hear anything back from people, so you don't know if it sells or not. It's really weird on how, but that's what Saturday's really for now. So, because John's on first and Echo's on, then we're on, and this is just a place to start to develop a place so people can sell their stuff, because, Johnny, not everybody's in this for free, my friend. Personally, if I was an artist or I was an author and I had a day job and I was making enough money as the other one, I'd give up the day job. If I made enough money as a radio show host, I'd give up my day job. I'd sign the company over to my son. Yes, but I don't, so I have to keep it. That's how that works. Yes. John won't give me, I keep asking John, give me $1 million. He keeps telling me no. He got like $150 million and $1 million. I don't know why he won't give none of it up. He's tight, man. He's tight. That's all I can tell y'all. Galen's over there. He's a lawyer. He probably got $400 or $500 million stashed by now.
Easy.
Easy. Arthur said he's not talking about his gold stash he's got anyway. He don't want the Fed coming to get him.
It's all in Bitcoin. I got a good feeling about it.
Oh, man. Speaking of that, one day I'll have to tell you a story about Bitcoin. I was so stupid when right after Katrina, I bought a bunch of it was a little ways after Katrina, I bought a bunch of Bitcoin. Because a friend of mine kept telling me it's going to be good. And it sat there at like $25 forever. Not even that. I think it was like $12 forever. And then one day it hit 70,000. I was like, wait, what? How much? I was like, get the hell out of here. You never know, people. I still think it's fake money. But hey, if I'm going to make money, I'm going to be happy. But we got to go. We got to go, guys and girls. These two gentlemen have lives. They got things they got to do. They're good-looking guys. You never know. They might have groups of people looking for them and stuff.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Galen. Thank you for Arthur too. It was great seeing you both again.
It was great. I had a great time. I hope y'all did too. Janine, Jack, John, all y'all have a good time out there. Post any questions you want. Like I said earlier, any moans, groans, bitches, complaints, or gripes, please write to Michelle DeRocherie, courtesy of The Outer Realm. Yes. Actually, you should write to Amelia Pisano and say it was John Goodwin. Anyway, we got to go now. We're going to see y'all later. Y'all be sure to check out Galen and Arthur's websites. If you can, go over there and purchase something. Be nice. Remember, we're all starving artists, so get out there and help us when you can, ladies and gentlemen. On that note, good night, and stay tuned for The Grace Zone. Dun, 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 dun.